Nonetheless, and I am joined by my illustrious co-host Jamadon.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so this is going to be the first game of this type, and we're going to explain basically what's going on here. So we have 10 players in this world using the new map nuke art. In addition to the 10 players here, we have got the Nation of Omniscience using the Omniscience MA mod, who will be sitting at the bottom of the ocean in the only deep sea province of the map and watching events unfold. These events will be played in real time, and we'll be posting these videos as often as we can to give our commentary on the players' movements. This is currently turn two. This is when all the omniscient scouts spawn, so we can see the entire map. And we're going to be talking about some of the fun events and drama that goes on between turns. Unfortunately, it's turn two, so there's not a huge amount of drama going on. I think, big news. One nation is twice the size of all the other nations, and that is Caelum. Caelum here taking a great lead in the score graph. So if we can look at the provinces graph here, we see a resounding lead for Caelum here with one province two provinces over one for everyone else. So
That is
I think they're off
great.
for a good start.
Did they take that with an awake?
They did, yeah. So we've got the Ahura of Waters here. Let's see. Do we have a picture here for the Ahura of Waters? All right, here we have the God for Caelum. Pretty basic expander. We've got I think a awe value of a 5, if I remember correctly. It makes pearls. It's got indestructibility, probably 20. Um, and we're looking at a couple of minor water elementals there. It seems that Caelum took their 20 initial units along with the god and took a random province. I mean, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Even if it had run into like trolls here, probably would have been fine with the combination of the awe and the actually I don't know. Are trolls high morale? I think they have like 15 morale. This might have actually died if it had gone to the trolls and got
I
unlucky.
mean, the good news is that if you send your awake in with your starting army, if you hit something really nasty, often the starting army will get wiped route, and then your god will also run for it.
That's right. Yes, the often it takes a turn to route, and often the god does not have time for that when surrounded by trolls. I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
yeah, no, the
And
awake plus army is definitely a strategy I don't use often enough, but it's definitely a good one.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out here is it's a little unusual to see like a one path god here.
Hmm.
I think Caleb went with that because Caleb doesn't really need a bless. Has pretty bad sacreds, and they can boost up water just fine with the national troops. A water for god wouldn't really add much to the nation.
Yeah, I mean, I would have actually almost even expected Farcaster here. Um, like finesse does. I mean, I guess Farcaster doesn't do anything for them either, right? I mean, they could lightning bolt slightly further, but I think neither finesse nor Farcaster really does anything for them here. I guess.
Neither
Um,
the good mages aren't sacred, are they?
yeah, none of these. Yeah, you're right. None of the Kayla mages are actually sacred. I should know this actually. Let me just. God.
I think
Okay.
they've got a H1 that can random some. I mean,
They have
maybe
an
you have to
H1.
look
Yeah, they have like an
really
H2
combat.
F1 something awful.
Oh yeah, okay.
If I if I remember correctly, they have a. I've played this nation, so I should know this. It's been a while. MA Calum. Let me just go with it. MA Calum is the worst Calum. It is so boring. You have this incredibly high quality, high seraph, right? And nothing else.
Got the have Harabs, don't they? Or am I thinking of
Yeah,
LA?
sorry.
They
Yeah,
have way
because
too many
because LA
defenses.
has Harabs and EA has Harabs, but MA no Harabs. Yeah. So the only thing Calum has from a sacred point of view is their one holy 20% fire Seraphines. So I think that Arcane Finesse is just a complete whatever. I think this is just somebody who has no interest in. Oh, I know what this is. This is just for the god. Yeah, I think this
Yeah,
Astral is literally
Astral's on
just
its own.
not to get magic dueled.
S4 is a little bit tricky. High enough that you think you might be safe, but low enough to lose if you roll a little bit unlucky.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, S4 is even from a pile of S1s, S4 is not safe for magic duel. I think they took the bug out of the game where magic duel could miss. Um, But I definitely took a lot of advantage of
That
that
kind of
during the pretty big period of time that Magic Duel could miss. Let's see, what other awake
But I
god?
think that the takeaway for this god is that it's a good expander. It can turn into a fairly good teleporting super combatant in the mid game with armor and weapons,
Mhm.
and it can get those astral summons for Caelum in the later mid game.
Yeah, I think that's basically you got a decent expander who can summon, who can probably going to be site searching to be honest. Probably just gonna be site
Mm-hmm.
searching and then summoning the not the devas. What are the they're
But we don't know much about MA
we don't
Calum.
know. No one cares. Yeah, summoning the
Yeah.
Yazads. Yeah, so you can be summoning the Yazads. Summoning the Splentas. Is Splenta? Yeah. So the interesting thing about MA Calum is that MA Calum can actually get into every path just using Astral. So by summoning the Splentas, Caelum is able to summon high path. So for example, with an Astral 5 spell, which is something that Caelum can cast, they can summon a Air 4 E3, Nature 5, Fire 5, a Nature Earth Mage, a Water 4 Mage. So they have a lot of stuff they can do just with Astral. So I
Does
think this is.
that require conjugation 8 though?
Oh, it does. It requires Conjuration 8.
Okay.
At lower levels,
So
they can summon the Zods are the ones you actually get. They are Conjuration 6, which means you're going to have it. And for 40 Astral Pearls, you can get Fire Mages, Air Mages, Water Mages, Earth Astral Mages. Yeah, these are the really the ones you're actually going to get with Astral. This is the
that's some good value at Conj 6.
Yeah, no, for 40 Astral Gems, getting really good battlefield mages for the problem is, the problem is that I would say two of them are useless because they're just Eagle Kings basically. But the water one, the earth nature one, and the two fire ones, pretty good. So I think good value. You're not going to really be using your astral pearls a lot on Caelum, so it's maybe better than turning in them into half air gems. Let's see what else.
Definitely.
Yeah, again, not a lot going on this turn. We don't have a lot of awake gods this game. I know. Perhaps you might have something to say about that.
Yeah. If anyone knows me, you know I have very strong opinions about awake gods. I'm in general a big fan of front loading power in dominions. When you're designing your pretender, if you can get an advantage in expansion in your first war, you know, being 10% stronger, 20% stronger then can cause you to win that first war in a decisive way. Or maybe you would have, tied and not gotten that second cap. And, an early lead can snowball you more and more as the game goes on. If you're compounding a 20% lead every, half a year because you're winning wars, you'll win games that you just won't with a 20% lead that kicks in on turn 36.
You gotta have that bit of gusto that maybe not all players have, but we'll see who has the gusto this game. They were seeing. So we got Arco doing a classic double War Elephant start. Um, I think that's. I always enjoy watching people try to do the Trampler start. So we'll see. We'll have to check out Arco next turn, seeing if they manage to do that, or they run their elephants in behind, right in front and die en route. That would be very sad. Unfortunately,
It
not
helps
no.
if you put the elephants in the same squad.
Yes, yes. No, we're gonna
It'll
love. We're
build up
gonna see if we can
morale.
see that. Like, see how good their squad micro is with the elephants. Elephants in the back with a lot of slow units who never actually make it to the fight just to stop the elephants from routing.
You can use militia, yeah.
Yes, use the militia just for their volume. Yeah, so not a lot of interesting indies on this map. So we've got some bone tribe here. I would say in competition between Aru and Arco. Bone tribe are mostly going to get you access to corpse constructs because they make both the corpse construct making items and they themselves can summon corpse constructs. I would say neither of these nations have access to death natively. Sorry, Aru actually does have access to death because this is a DE. So they're not going to really benefit from these bone tribe, but Arco I do not think actually has native death access, but I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. So expect them maybe to go for this. Yeah, but other than that, we got some goblins over here. I don't think their mage is any good, right? We got some pale ones. Let's go to a couple of pale ones. Everyone loves fielding pale ones in their armies, as we know. Very high quality troop.
They really are the best quality sort of chaff you can
Yeah, I mean,
get.
if you want
Big HP,
Yeah, if you want
great
hit
at
points, like
pushing
like
around
you can
forts.
get
They don't
pale
eat.
ones with like 20 hit points for 12 gold. Like you're not going to get that value anywhere. Ermor here sometimes takes a awake god. Doesn't look like we've got an awake god here. Ulm similarly often has an awake god. It doesn't look like we've got an awake god here. Just yeah.
Orm is maybe the only nation, or one of a very few that can pull off a dormant god. Is it dormant or imprisoned?
Yeah, let me check. We've got the eldest dwarf. Quite flavorful. We've got a Big Daddy God Smasher, traditional Almish name, of course.
Little unusual to see an Olmish god imprisoned. That means
Yeah,
it's this diversity is great on Olm, but it won't come out until fairly late in the mid game.
I think basically this god is a golem crafter and gear maker. What Ulm really needs in the late game is something it can do. So it's going to probably making mage summons, perhaps. Could be fire spirits, could be ivy kings, could be mound kings, mound fiends. Sorry, mound fiends. Could be golems. I think this is basically a god that's gonna maybe do a little site searching, but mostly is gonna make golems and is mostly here for the 3 order 3 luck, so that Ulm has nothing but good things happen to it.
It is weird to see MA Olm with only one prod.
Order does give some resources, not a lot, but I would say that the standard like Turmoil 3 Ulm build, this is going to give a lot more resources than that, certainly. So it might be worth a point and a half of production. One thing to look out for this game is Ulm may fail to expand. I think one bad attack and suddenly Ulm is in a bad place. Like definitely Ulm could run into one of these heavy cap provinces down here and have a problem. But it looks like Ulm's going to be fine taking its cap circle. Definitely if Ulm had gotten unlucky and gotten some tougher indies in their cap circle, then that would have been a problem.
Yeah, I mean, as Olm, I would be concerned that someone looks at my one prod and says, "You look pretty tasty for
Yeah,
Sacred Rush."
maybe somebody sees that production one Ulm and decides, hey, I actually am going to rush that Ulm.
That said, Olm troops are still good, even if you're getting a
They
little
are
bit
good.
less.
They are good. And yeah, Ulm is pretty good at holding off, or at least making their opponents pay for an early rush.
Right.
Uruk has taken an Anukai of Love and War. I believe that's the way to pronounce that word. So Anukai of Love and War is a pretty good god. I think in the base game and also DE, it completely outclasses the thing that is on the cover of the game, which is the Aptkalu. The Apkalu is the national god, the only god in the game that has 4 paths, but it's just worse than this god because this god has twice as much HP and actually is cheaper, despite having like one less path. It loses water, not a big deal. Is not going to like go in hard for quickness or defense or anything. But yeah, so we see a regeneration, reinvigoration, shock resistance play here. I think that is a pretty reasonable bless. Likes regen on both its sacreds and its communion slaves, which are also sacred. It likes reinvigoration also. It's got a lot of encumbrance, and the com slaves obviously like invigoration. And I think shock resistance is quite here because we have a lot of air magic in this game. So we've got Caelum, we've got Man, we've got Pythium, we've got Ariu. Does
You
Tartary
get
have air
Tartary.
magic?
Yep, lots.
Yeah, so we have 5 nations. Oh, Arco too, right? Which has air magic. So we got like 6 nations who can bring major air magic to the party. I think this is a good game to have shock resistance in.
And I just want to talk about how well designed this god is for a second. If you look at the pathing here, we've got air, earth, and nature. This is literally the ideal 3 path combination for a generic awake. The nature gets you potentially a regen bless if you've got troops to support it, which Uruk does with like heavily armored sort of size threes. And that regen will work on the god and help keep it alive.
And remember, they're size 3, but they go 3 per square.
Right, right. This god, nature also lets the god cast personal regen. So you're looking at a 20% regen god in your own dominion. You've got earth. Earth gets you reinvigoration, on the god in dominion. Also lets the god cast summon earth power, iron skin, temper flesh, temper armor, all kinds of really good buffs. So this earth and nature together get you a really good, you know, expander god and god in like a physical combat. Air is also a big game changer for a god because it means you can, in the early mid game, research cloud trapeze and drop it anywhere you want. Your enemy has to be aware that that god could drop anywhere within, I think, range 4 or 5,
Yeah, it's 5 range.
and that makes it really hard to raid someone with an awake super combatant type god because suddenly it can just poof and annihilate a raiding party.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, Air's got great thug paths on its own. You've got Mist Form, you've got Mirror Image. Uruk brings the God Bring Back ability here from its earlier age. Now, it still loses paths, unlike but it can definitely bring its God back very quickly if you invest in Galas early. We might be seeing like an alteration play here early to try to get Swarm, to try to get Body Ethereal for the Sacreds, to try to get, Thug Path from this god. Try to get maybe
Iron warrior.
yeah, get some wooden warriors, get some, they don't really get iron warriors in MA, but could put up Mother Oak if you can get their hands on the nature gem. Uruk nature gem income is not amazing. I think they get like 1 or 2, yeah. But yeah, no, I think Uruk is very well set up here.
It's
Pretty.
got a great a god that really can use its own paths well, and those paths are giving it great blessings that apply to the sacreds.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that's the best type of awake god.
And yeah, that's mostly I think what's going on turn one. I don't know, Gemma. Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing too much. The only indies I saw were some Crystal Amazon,
Man,
U1, S1. That's a great pickup. And also, the lizard shamans. I think I saw one of those earlier too.
yeah, I know that. Here we go. So we got Crystal Amazons. Unfortunately, Crystal Amazons have been pretty much in the demesne of man here, who basically already has communions with air in them.
Mhm.
If this was, for example, in Uruk's cap circle, we'd be talking about big deal because if give Uruk some reasonable paths to cast out of its communions, and it's golden. But inside man's demesne, there'll be a choice whether to recruit Mother of Avalons or to recruit these, but it's probably not going to be super impactful in the game.